All right, we're back with this conversation. We're just having this conversation off the screen, but we're back now. So send in your feedback at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV. Can you use the hashtag Daybreak? Chikati, on what grounds is CS Ndung'u facing an impeachment? Just enumerate one. So incompetence.
Yes.
Why is he incompetent? Because you don't have your CDF fund.
You know, you cannot, as a CS, stand on a platform and announce that there is a cash crunch in a country.
And if it is true, that there
you can cause a lot of problems. You can cause partners to run away, business investors to run away from the country. You can cause a big problem. Why can't he consult the president? Why can't he consult other people within the government before he makes such a reckless announcement? So that is one. Number two, since we came in Parliament, there has been a sequence of activities that shows that Professor Ndung'u is not competent. Last year, I remember in February, in Mombasa, members of Parliament had to stop work and call him so that he can be able to release the CDF. And that is one of them. CDF is not just a small amount of money, it's a huge amount of money affecting the education of millions of students in Kenya. And if you don't take that very serious, you can see that it can affect many, many people. The capitation in schools does not reach on time. It is only this year that I've been told that it has been sent. I don't know whether it has even arrived in the school's accounts. So there are so many things that can tell that our brother Ndung'u is not competent. And last year, members of Parliament had started collecting signatures. We reached somewhere to say, no, maybe it is too early. We need to give him time. But now we've realized that even if we gave him time, there will be no change. He has now reached at a place where he's saying, please don't disturb me, and there is no money, which means that students are not going to go to school. You see, the country is not going to run, because when you say there's a cash crunch, it's not just about education. It's about all sectors of the country. And so if he sees that the responsibility which we gave him is too much for him, we better remove him, or he better steps down, then we get someone else who is competent to manage the finances of our country.
During the break, you're saying that this is a year where you want people to be performing at their topmost. Are there other CSs that you lack confidence in?
First of all, let us start with Ndung'u, and then we come to the others.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rook.
Trevor, as I said, our economy, or any financial system, financial sector, that is, depends. Some decisions are made out of the sentiment which comes, or sentiment and opinion which comes from people in authority. CS Ndung'u is one of person who is in authority as far as financial sector of this republic is concerned, and Kenya is not just an economy; it is one of the hubs, financial hubs in the region. And therefore, it means international financial sector as a serious play within our economy. And any statement which is coming from him must be well thought, must be well considered. He must be having advisors and people, directors who will help him in taking some of the decision and what he's supposed to say. So whatever he says should be well thought, because it can cause capital flight from Nairobi Stock Exchange. It can cause decisions which had been made by investors to be rescinded.
So if CDF is released, then is he off the chopping board?
For me, it's not about CDF. For me, it's not about CDF. I have no issue with CDF. I know President committed that, yes, he will be releasing 10 billion Kenyan shilling for CDF for the sake of the bursaries for the Kenyan student across the nation. That will be done. I have no issue about CDF, but I have a problem with the conduct of the CS Ndung'u for the last 1 year, because you cannot look aeropress. If you are helpless as a CS, what about the common mwananchi?
Okay.
The president puts you there to help him. If you are not in a position to help him, then just go home. And there are many other. Professor Ndung'u taught us economics at University of Nairobi. Though I was not taught economics by him, I was taught economics by Dr. Ndemo. And I know he has some weakness, that I can say. Having been in the same school.
And you all collectively did not see this during the vetting. You're only seeing this now.
Of course, it's good to give someone benefit of doubt.
For improvement.
The benefit of doubt. He's a guy who worked as a governor of Central Bank. So we give him benefit of doubt. If for the last 1 year is not performing as it's expected.
And that is where the problem lies, because Kenyans will be wondering, why are you then gambling with all other institutions where you're giving everyone a benefit of doubt and you're not basing the vetting on their competence?
He's a professor.
It's a give. You're just risking it.
He's a professor.
Perform, is he not?
He's a professor. There's a way he became a professor, okay? But it doesn't mean that you can't fail, even if you are a professor. So what we are saying is CS Ndung'u must help this economy in managing this economy's reliability, and he has to do it in a more prudent manner. For him to be able to do it in the most prudent manner, there are some statements which he cannot come out and say, to the extent that it is the president who will be coming out to defend some of these statements. We cannot be ensuring each and every day that president is in a knock-on position because of a statement made by a CS, whom we appointed.
We are spending
the only thing we can do is to reprimand that CS.
Okay, we are spending a lot of time on this CDF issue because it is important, and I'd like you to give us your statements as legislators. There's students and parents who are watching now and wondering what next. But let's bring up some of the feedback and see what they're saying in terms of CDF, and then I'll hear your directive going forward. What are you telling your people now? Because most of them I know are jammed in the CDF offices looking for this important fund to go to school. Ole Shonko says the importance of CDF in the education sector cannot be overlooked. I think it is a high time that we have a structured funding system through this fund. How it unites the MPs is what shocks us. Is there more than meets the eye? Okay. Bobo Tieno Wino says, what I am proud of Kenya Kwanza government led by President William Ruto is that boldness they have by telling Kenyans the truth about the state of the economy, what led us to the crisis we are in, and what they are doing to stabilize it. Okay. Daniel says it's unfortunate that members of parliament from the Kenya Kwanza side are defending the executive as if they are part of it. It's the work of parliamentarians to protect our interests and check the excesses of the executive, no matter which side they are from. Okay? You don't leave a name there, but you just leave a number. When you see people selling land, animals, and property to buy education, food, and medical care, then Kenya will not take off. The country is overrepresented by a crowded parliament and executive. We must stop jokes. Sir Nixon says it's too unfortunate that we Kenyans are suffering as a result of ineffective leadership, which is manifested by elaborate signs like lack of clear goals, poor communication, lack of accountability, and a lack of support for team members. Okay? So, Kango, what happens now from this point? And I'd like to hear what the legislators have to say, because the CDF is with them, parents are waiting, students are still waiting.
Yeah, that's true. Trevor, I want to say something about CDF.
Yeah, well, I'll come. Because
there's quite a number of misperceptions there. So that in December, I finished giving bursaries on 24th of December.
Okay.
For universities, tertiaries, and TVETs and colleges, where I was giving
so at that point all the allocation,
where I was giving every student, issuing every student with 10,000 shilling check. So it depends on how you manage your CDF.
So in Bere North right now, there's no issue with CDF. Your students are...
As far as the universities is concerned, there's no issue. We are now looking at the secondary student, which we are expecting. And as I've said, there is commitment from the president as far as CDF is concerned. 10 billion Kenyan shilling will be released before the end of this week. So that next week we can be having this money.
And how do you know this and yet you're not the treasury CS?
I trust the president. I trust the president.
So the president spoke to you then?
No, president said, he did not speak to me. President said, when he was in Eldoret the other day, he said he's going to release 10 billion Kenyan shilling. I trust the word from the president.
Okay.
So it should not be an issue.
All right.
It should not be a big deal.
Okay.
Honorable Ruku says he trusts Honorable Ruto. At the same time, he's telling the public that they are going to initiate a process of impeachment of Professor Ndung'u, CS treasury.
I have not said that.
Who was?
Who has said that is Honorable Chakati.
So you disagree?
So you will not participate, okay.
You disagree with the dispensement of Professor Ndung'u. You think is fantastic? It shouldn't be...
The president has a capacity, authority to sack CS Ndung'u when he thinks it is appropriate.
So do you think
for me, what I'm saying,
or not?
For me, what I'm saying is that Professor Ndung'u is performing bureau expectations.
Fair enough.
It's performing below expectation because of something I'm calling reliability management of this nation and being a crybaby.
Or should he leave?
Sorry?
Should he be removed or should he stay?
I think he has demonstrated that he is not, does not meet the threshold.
So should he be removed or should he stay?
Trevor, he will not answer because...
Let him finish. Give him a minute.
Professor Ndung'u has demonstrated he's not able to do reliability management of this nation properly, and therefore, if he is not able to improve, then we are asking the President of the Republic of Kenya to do the necessary and sack him.
Okay. So that he has said Ndung'u must go, or Ndung'u should go. He has said,
don't put words in my mouth.
Ruku has said that he trusts the President. And I wanted to correlate. You see, who appointed Professor Ndung'u? It's Honorable Ruto. Okay? After they vetted Professor Ndung'u. So he has trusted someone who appointed the person that he doesn't trust himself as Honorable Ruku, as it is now. We have seen grounds of removal of a CS. Gross misconduct, committing a crime on any of the national law, international law, and also violation of the Constitution. I don't know where they are citing him, but they're saying he has demonstrated some misconduct. He is incompetent. Now,
Trevor, for you
we don't want to go...
For you to be sacked by the president, it doesn't matter about the things he's mentioning. The president only needs to wake up one day morning and decide that I don't need so-and-so in my cabinet.
But it has to be constitutional. It doesn't do it outside of the law.
You see, this is how Kenya Kwanza behaves. You see, they trash the Constitution of Kenya 2010. They don't understand the principles of the Constitution that guides even their work. And you can see that playing out. What I'm trying to explain to Honorable Ruku, and this is a crash program, you need to take it, is that CS that you are going to tell the president to fire has also his rights. He must be taken through a due process. However, the president can decide to fire him without even giving a notice or anything. But we are saying, for you have cited reasons why he should go. Okay? That's what you have told us. So if we are to go by the reasons why you have said that he should go, then it is only fair that you apply yourself to the provisions of exiting him from office as per the law that requires that a member of parliament must initiate that motion supported by a quarter, then it proceeds supported by 2/3, and then those grounds must be substantiated. It is a process that goes through a committee or the whole panel. Now, relax. Number 3, Ruku is speaking for the executive. There's a viewer there who has told them that is a problem that we have in this regime. Members of Kenya Kwanza in the House want to speak for the executive, while the law expects them to oversight the same executive. And that's why he trusts somebody who appointed a CS that today is claiming that CS is incompetent and suitable. So basically, he's saying he trusts also CS Ndung'u that he doesn't want. Lastly, let's be honest. We know that Kenyans are suffering. And some of the suffering that Kenyans are undergoing are as a result of people in office that are incompetent, as they say, people that are unsuitable. And therefore, it is their duty to initiate such process. But as they do so, we are saying, from the Azimio opposition side, we are saying that it is too late for them. They would have started this the very first day they landed in that house because they saw it coming, and they never stopped because they wanted to please someone. We must be true to ourselves again. The people of Mbere are expecting CDF. They're expecting that the roads are made. They're expecting the schools are plastered. They're expecting that their children go to school. They're expecting their food on the table this evening, Honorable Ruku. The best you can do to the people of Mbere is to be honest with yourself and say the regime we are in is a regime that has failed you. Don't cite a CS of the regime, and you are failing to cite the systemic component of the regime that is headed by the president that you really love and trust. Okay. That one, you are failing the people of Mbere.
Okay.
Thank you. You see, during the vetting of Professor Ndung'u, on the vetting panel, the Azimio MPs are there, and they contributed to really getting him inside. So it is not, it's a collective responsibility. We are saying this is a process. That is why there is room for improvement, and then there is also room for vetting and passing, and there is room for impeachment. And so that will take its course. The other thing is that there is a general view that the KK, the Kenya Kwanza MPs, are just yes men. There are many Kenya Kwanza MPs who criticize the processes and the activities of government right within parliament. And my brother Ruku is here, and he knows. There are many Kenya Kwanza MPs who have come here and they have aired their independent views on different issues. So we are not just there as yes men. It's a wrong umbrella view to say that we are just there as yes men. So on CDF, the CDF is not a new thing which came yesterday. No, CDF has been a process, and it has taken over the years. Once you introduce a student in Form 1 as a CDF beneficiary, that should go on until Form 4. What we are saying is that there is no need of giving a student a bursary at the tail end of the term when he has already missed classes, okay? So January, there is no money. And then February, there is no bursary. In March, when the term is coming to an end, then you release it. Already, you are paying for someone who has not been attending classes. That is why we are advising Professor Ndung'u that when it comes to CDF, let it be released on time. So that is the main important thing that we need to look at. The other thing is the Ministry of Education has budgeted and appropriated money meant for JSS to be implemented through CDF. Now, in JSS, there are some students who have left one grade into the next grade without infrastructure development in those schools, okay? They are waiting for additional classes. They are waiting for additional infrastructure in those schools through CDF. That has not been implemented. And so you can see that it is not just affecting bursary, it is also affecting infrastructure development. The other thing is that there is no school which is not increasing in population. Many schools in Kenya are increasing in terms of population. That's why you see at every Form 4 examination, the number of students who are sitting for that examination keeps on increasing. And therefore, it increases as the infrastructure also increases. And this is budgeted for and appropriated. It is now the responsibility of the cabinet secretary to see that that money is raised on time, dispersed on time, so that learners can be able to attend. Lastly, poor performance in last year's examination. 50% of it is related to untimely release of school fees to students, okay? If you look at the kind of Ds and Es young Kenyans have recorded, and that is destroying the life of these young people. And that should be able to, that can be able to be stopped if fees is released on time. There is no any other source of money that heads of schools can get in order to run these schools. Okay. And finally, there is this issue of capitation. Yeah. For secondary schools, which are boarding, around 22,000 shillings per student is always released to every student in the school. Now, what reaches to the student at that particular school at the end is only maybe 1,000 or 2,000 shillings. The rest is deducted for books, for what? Which never reaches the school, okay? If actually every student is supposed to get capitation of 22,000 shillings, yeah, my view is that all the money per student should be released to the school. If it is taxation, the school should be allowed then to pay in terms of taxation, in terms of books and so on. But all of it should be reflected in the account of the school. It should not be deducted, even 1 shilling by the ministry, then released to the school, 1,000 or 2,000, right from 22,000. What reaches in the school is very little money that cannot enable schools to sustain themselves.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now, let's close up on this conversation on the CDF and talk about something else. And it's almost related to what the two of you, Ruku and Okango, were talking about. Respect.
But it's been Trevor to respond to what my brother was saying, that the people of Bere have been failed by the Kenya Kwanza government, which is not true. That today, the people of Bere have a water project which is running, being implemented, courtesy of Kenya Kwanza government.
This was in relation to the CDF, so let's talk about CDF. Have they received their CDF?
Yes, I've just said in December 24th, I finished issuing checks
for
students, for universities, where they received 10,000 each.
In secondary schools? Which
and secondary schools, I'm doing it from next week.
Which money will you use?
CDF money.
But it's not there yet.
It depends on how you are going to manage your CDF.
So you're saying you have enough allocation to give CDF?
I have money for the bursaries for secondary schools, and
So why haven't you released it then?
You have to do a proper planning. You have to do a proper planning. You don't wake up and issue checks.
So is this money from the last allocation? Because most of your legislators are saying they haven't received CDF. I'm wondering where you are getting CDF from.
It depends on how you are going to do your financial gymnastics with the CDF board. As a member of parliament, you have to be able to establish your ration.
So how are you
and how to manage
so that
the CDF?
Can also try and...
I will not go into those details. I will not go into those details, but the truth of the matter is that if you call anybody in Bere, we issued checks for CDF for bursaries in December. Next week, I will be issuing checks for day secondary schools, where each and every parent in day secondary school would be paid 1,300 shilling per term. The rest will be paid by CDF.
Just 1 second.
How you achieve that, it is your own gymnastics on how you are going to
So your other legislators are complaining for nothing?
No,
they're just poor.
What I'm saying is, you need to work properly with the CDF board. And also, you need to do the liability management at the level of at the level of constituency. In a proper manner.
All right.
That is something which I have done.
Yes. If Ruku can do it, why are you failing in Tongaren?
No, he's doing it well. What he's saying and why we are complaining about Professor Ndung'u is because the financial year starts on July 1st. Okay? So since July 1st last year, when the financial year started, up to now is about 7 months. No single disbursements of CDF for this financial year has been released to the schools.
But
what my brother Ruku is saying is that the disbursements he's doing right now is for the previous financial year. And he's talking about good financial management. And that has nothing to do with what we are saying.
So it's the previous financial year?
Yes.
So you're saying you already allocated yours from the previous financial year, and what you...
Yes, mine has already been allocated.
So it's Ruku who's delayed?
No, I'm not saying it's delayed.
Because how is he allocating money from the previous year? I'm trying to understand, because you're two legislators.
Maybe he's
one is saying he doesn't have CDF, the other one is saying that he has.
We are not contradicting each other, okay? Because CDF keeps on running. Each member of parliament has his own timetable, okay? What we are talking about in my case, and the justification is that from July last year, when the financial year, this current financial year commenced, up to now, the CDF has not been dispersed to our accounts.
So you have not given any CDF?
Personally, I have not for this financial year. But in this December, I also finished dispersing the money to some of the schools.
So, Ruku, the money you're giving next week is for the last financial year or for this year?
Trevor, as I said, you have to do financial gymnastics.
Okay.
So the financial gymnastics I'm talking about, I can explain to you off the camera.
You may attend. Okay, let's talk about we wanted to bring up the conversation on the Constitution. We're seeing some kind of loggerheads between all levels,